The election of Nikki Fried as the state's new Commissioner of Agriculture and Consumer Services has set off a political fight over who should oversee the process of concealed weapons permits.
Before Fried has even been sworn into office, the National Rifle Association is moving to strip her of any role in the process. CBS 4's Jim DeFede recently spoke to Fried and asked her why she believed the NRA's chief lobbyist, Marion Hammer, was pushing for change.
Is that she showed her hand, that this is a political decision and that she wants to make sure it stays into hands of individuals that she can have persuasion over. And I've said throughout the entire campaign, the first and foremost, because even if it gets done and it gets moved to a different area in the government, that it's still my responsibility until that happens. And which means that on day one, which has been my priority, to do a comprehensive review of what went wrong, things that we could do to fix it. I've already been speaking to people inside of the department and seeing to make sure that we are putting the safety of our Floridians first. And then as we start doing that and coming up with new policies and new ways to fix this, is also then start having these conversations, talk to law enforcement, how would they do it differently and do it better, and take politics out of this. This is not a political issue. This is it making sure that safety comes first, and that just hasn't been done.
Well, one of the things that we came to light during this entire process was that when concealed weapon permits were denied, it was not unusual for the NRA to send emails to those people, underlings, within the Ag Commissioner's office to yell at them essentially and demand that they actually approve the permits for these following individuals.
Yeah, that's absolutely inappropriate. That when somebody gets denied, there's a reason for it. And to have somebody to have influence to be able to come in there and to change a decision of that nature puts the lives and safety of our Floridians at risk. So which is why I've been talking about making sure there's safeguards in place if it stays in the Department of Agriculture. But more importantly, if it moves over to law enforcement, that type of communication can't happen.
Right. You weren't going to allow that to happen in your office.
Oh, of course not.
FDLE wouldn't allow it to happen.
Absolutely.
So are we just, what we're basically seeing is politician shopping? She's trying to take this area, which is very important to her and the NRA, and move it into a political realm where she thinks she can still exert control. Absolutely.
It's the same thing as attorneys go forum shopping, and when you are doc shopping, that's exactly what she's doing.
The irony, of course, is that you actually haven't been a real strident, anti-NRA person. You have a concealed weapons permit. You've talked about that before. You haven't taken a position really strong one way or the other on a ban of assault weapons. So talk a little bit about what is your view on the Second Amendment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, I'm an attorney, and so I'm sworn to protect the Constitution. I do have a gun. I have a concealed weapons permit. I've had it for about 5 years, so it wasn't something I just did for the election. And so I'm, and I believe I've been to shooting ranges because I believe in safety and to learning how to this. So I've been just very supportive of making sure that I'm doing my job, and that's doing it in an efficient and effective manner, not taking anybody's concealed weapons, not precluding people from applying or making it a longer period of time, just making sure that the office is actually run efficiently, and that a lot of it's human error, and making sure that we're getting the right type of people to actually oversee this. As part of my already investigation into the department, a majority of the people that were overseeing this were part-time employees, and so that would be first and foremost, is to make sure that we have full-time employees who are actually overseeing this process. That should be a no-brainer day one.
Okay, Jim joins us live now. So, Jim, tell us more about this fight that's playing out between Fried and the NRA already.
This is just already pure politics. Before Fried is even going to be sworn in, she's going to be sworn in the first week of January, Marion Hammer has made a move. This is what Marion Hammer does. This is what makes the NRA so feared and, in cases, loathed in the state of Florida. She's going to try to move this agency from the Ag Commissioner's office right now, where she had hoped it was going to stay, but with a different Ag Commissioner. Right. The NRA and others were, they liked Matt Caldwell, they were supportive of Matt Caldwell, and now suddenly they want to move it to the chief financial officer. It makes no logistic sense. The chief financial officer has nothing to do with the gun permitting process, and what I think Marion Hammer's really afraid of is that Nikki Fried will lobby to actually move it from the Ag Commissioner's office to FDLE, where suddenly the NRA won't have as much influence.
Well, why not move it to FDLE? What are the obstacles there, Jim?
Well, that would be, there's a lot of good rationale for it. It would need to be done by an act of the legislature. And already there are members of the legislature who are writing bills that will move it from the Agriculture Commissioner's office to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. They're already doing most of the background checks. They're already responsible for a lot of the areas. It just makes sense, in Fried's opinion, and I think to most people, that you would have it under law enforcement where political influence would not be able to sway a decision one way or another. But in the meantime, as Fried was pointing out, in the meantime, before that can take place, she's got to take over the department. She wants to make sure it's being run smoothly, and so she's proceeding as if it's going to be hers for the foreseeable future.
But talk about how the NRA might be taking some hits in the future, because already in the last legislative session, the School Safety Act passed, and that was kind of a hit to her.
I agree with that completely. As a matter of fact, I think this is one of the reasons why they made this move that they did. I think this is a big year for the NRA to try to regain some of that power they lost. If you remember, after Marjory Stoneman Douglas, the state passed a bill, the Marjory Stoneman Douglas Act, that did, among other things, raise the age to buy firearms in the state of Florida from 18 to 21. It did a lot of other things as well. The NRA vociferously opposed that bill. Well, it got passed. Governor Scott signed it into law. It's the law of the land now. But you're going to see, I believe, the NRA, through moves like this against Nikki Fried and against that bill, will try to repeal back, tone down, wash down a lot of that was passed last year, hoping that the public has moved on, that they're not watching closely, and you're starting to see them maneuver a little bit more. The NRA, they always are in this for the long game. That's what they're playing here. NRA, Marion Hammer, they're playing the long game. They're hoping that the public attention will die down. We're going to keep the public's attention on exactly what's going on in Tallahassee.
All right, Jim, thank you very much.